So this weekend upcoming, we have Abos Magomedov taking on Sean Strickland in a UFC Fight Night main event. And it's brought up a lot of interesting questions as to where Sean Strickland's career is. Is this a good matchup? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As Abos Magomedov this is only his second UFC fight and he's in a main event now. But I wanted to ask you, Ash, Sean Strickland strikes me as the kind of guy who now is well aware of where he is in the middleweight division. I think he knows that he's a middle class fighter, that he's never probably going to fight for a title. You know what I mean? Like he lost to Jared Cannonier, he lost to Alex Pereira. He now sparred with Alex Pereira. I feel like he knows his place. Am I wrong? What do you think?
I don't know, man. I tend to disagree with that, if I'm being honest. Only purely because the last fight, he was very adamant that he won. Very boring fight, though. I mean, it wasn't boring. It just, based on how Sean Strickland talks, you'd expect him to go into more exciting fights. And the last fight itself, it could have easily been a draw. He feels like he won, and that's arguably the number 2, number 3 guy in the world that is rooting for a rematch against Israel Adesanya. I do think he believes he's still elite, but at the same time, as he had, a bit of an obstacle with losing to Jared Cannonier, he's gonna have to start taking out these young dogs now, man. Like that's my mentality on this. What do you think?
Well, he's gonna have to take out the young dogs. He's lost to like the top guys in the division. Like you said, he won. But I think the interesting thing is that the style that he has now created is this very conservative, very safe style. It is interesting, like you said, to hear him talk. He's trying to go like, I'll die in the cage. And then you see him fight. This guy,
it's like
really?
You're talking like you're fighting like Justin Gaethje, man. You're like Justin Gaethje. You're very safe fight. I mean, I put some notes here. It's just very typical. You're probably gonna agree with me on this, Tim. And if you don't, fuck you. But like, with Sean, it's always the same thing. He lacks he lacks KO power, but it's not because he doesn't have the power. He just doesn't implement it. He has a very kind of conservative way in how much power he demonstrates or he puts into his shots. It's high volume. He loves to kind of fight in the phone booth range, which is weird because he doesn't have much KO power, and he loves using that jab. And really, that's really about it. Like he keeps his hands like this. He keeps the middle of his body completely exposed for body kicks, and he's very susceptible to getting leg kicked. And I made a joke. I put a little bit of a joke in my notes. Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen the sparring footage of him sparring that random guy. Even that random guy, landed a leg kick on him. So, he's susceptible to that leg kick, man. I just don't think he's okay, in terms of skill set. I don't believe he thinks he's okay, but I just think he's just very mid-tier, personally.
He is, and that's the thing of it. He doesn't take risks in fights. He doesn't, go for like, because he's gotten knocked out in the past. Not just the Alex Pereira. He was knocked out in the UFC before that, and I think because of that, he's adjusted to a very conservative style, like you're saying. Just this jab heavy, walk around you in circles for 25 minutes, but then insult you while I'm just lightly jabbing your face. It's a weird thing to see. But man, does he even get past Magomedov? Because this guy, he came in, he's got like a knockout in 25 seconds in the UFC, pretty great success in the PFL, some success in KSW. He's got the right name for this sport. He's a Magomedov.
Absolutely. That's the last person you want to fight, in the debut, or even if you're a rising dog. I'm like, I want to fight Magomedov, like bloody hell, like this Dagestani absolute animal. But look, going through Abbas's highlight, because it's basically just a long highlight reel, a lot of his fights. I did watch one full fight, which lasted 33 seconds, and it was actually him losing. He lost to a 40-year-old PFL competitor, and it does show that he's human. That's kind of what main point I'd like to give here. But at the same time, Sean's not really known for his knockout power. Personally, I think the strategy for Sean is just to crowd him. Pretty much what he did the last fight, Imanov. He crowded the kicker. Imanov was not able to land any decent kicks on him, completely crowded him, walked him down, and then he just obviously your cardio is going to deplete faster when you have to run backwards. So I think that is a strategy against Abbas. Now, whether he manages to do that or not is another thing. And just to go through a bit of Abbas's background, he was raised in Dagestan, started wrestling at the age of 12. age of 15, he moved to Germany, started, really developing that striking base and that kickboxing base as well. So he's very skilled all round. Now, I actually think he's going to go for a takedown more so than Sean in this fight. Honestly, like I genuinely think we're going to see more wrinkles here to Abbas's game. Yeah, that we don't necessarily have seen him the last 2 or 3 fights, but if you notice, he actually always goes for takedowns. He does actually mix it up.
So it's like the highlight reels that we've seen are not really overly accurate. You're saying like, no, he's got way more wrestling in there. Because every time I look him up, it's just the highlights of him knocking people out in PFL. It's knocking people out in like 20 seconds here and there. But no, he's kind of a Dagestani wrestler base. Is that right?
Oh no, definitely, man. Like he's a very solid wrestler. This is what I meant. Like, so the more I kind of do research on this, the more I'm leaning to Abbas, because Abbas is a much better striker. He's got better kicking technique. Also, Sean does this thing, where he keeps his guard quite wide apart, and he leaves a massive opening in the middle. And again, Abbas is known, for that teep front kick to the body and to the head. So I'm actually predicting. You know what? I'm gonna stop my prediction. I'll leave it. I mean, what do you think, Tim?
Well, yeah, both of those things. He's gotten teeps to the face in the UFC knockout, and he's got the knockout in the PFL. I forget which one it was, but that was a teep to the body setup, and then the guy collapsed and he punched him out. But yeah, he's got some strong teeps. Thing is, like beating Sean Strickland for me. I don't know how to say this without sounding rude. Of like,
fuck it, he's rude.
Yeah, I know, that's right too. No, and like I said, I think he's self-aware. So maybe he's okay with me saying this, but like. Losing to Sean Strickland, he's a gatekeeper kind of fighter. He's a gatekeeper.
Yeah, but definitely, man. 100%.
You know, but beating him, I still would barely say like, okay, you beat Sean Strickland. Maybe you'll struggle with everyone else in the middleweight division or everyone else in the top 5 of this division. Beating Sean Strickland isn't quite like, this isn't.
It's not like beating Yushin Okami back in the day. Do you remember that? Remember beating Yushin Okami was a thing? That's for the old school fighters. That's for the old school fans. Yeah, Yushin was a massive gatekeeper, and I feel like Sean Strickland, Yushin Okami, very similar level. I mean, the UFC tried to push Sean, and I think the reason why they tried to really push Sean is because of the fact that Sean and Izzy had a great exchange in the presser. I mean, it was basically their press conference, and the UFC, they got millions of views from it. They're like, this is going to be a banging fight. Even Izzy was calling for it. And what does he do? He fights Alex Pereira next, and he decides to walk into a left counter hook. So that's the one time he did take a massive risk. He decided to try and crowd the kickboxer, and he just got beaten up, man.
Man, and he was training with Pereira recently, and even said in the interview with I believe Helen Yee was the interviewer, but he was saying like, this guy's perfect, this guy's so good. So that makes me think like he's felt the power in the training room. He knows how good the top of the division is, and he must know the gap between where he is now and like where Alex Pereira is, because Alex Pereira isn't even the top guy in the division. Like, I mean, Israel had a great fight with him and knocked him out. Robert Whittaker is up there as well. Like, dear Sean, you're looking at this. But let me ask you, I think we're getting beside the point here. This fight night here, upcoming. Mm-hmm. Good main event, bad main event. What do you make of it?
I think it's a solid main event for sure. Okay. Like, it's Abbas has got the style that hopefully it's not going to be, a boring main event fight with Sean in it again. I don't think he's boring. I think I'm just being really harsh on him.
He's boring. He's boring.
You think he's boring?
He's boring.
I mean, it was so hard for me to break this fight down. I actually pissed off myself that we're there. I'm like, let's break down the Sean Strickland main event. I'm like, why the fuck did I do that?
Why did I pick this one?
why did I pick this one? We could have just saved that energy for for someone else. But I mean, just the conclusion with Sean, my main conclusion with Sean is he's a very good fighter. Now, what I've noticed about the rest of the elite middleweight division, there's 2 kinds. You're either a specialist like Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira, where you're very, very good at striking and you've got subpar wrestling, grappling, but you've got just a good enough defense to kind of counter that. Or you're just very well-rounded. Hence, Marvin Vettori is very well-rounded. You've got Rob Whittaker that's very well-rounded as well. Even Dricus Duplessis, he's quite well-rounded. He's got good wrestling, good striking. Now, Sean is well-rounded, but what is the main gripe I've got with him is that he just doesn't mix up. It's almost like he's a boxer, no?
100%. Yeah, I completely see that. I completely agree with where you're coming from on this. That he's tailored his style to essentially just have one thing. He knew he did one thing well in the training room, and that's the only
Yeah.
thing that he does now. But yeah, I think this might be one of those UFCs in hindsight where we look back in 2 years and we're like, man, that's crazy that like his second UFC fight and now he's fighting for a title. Because like Abus Magomedov, he's not a prospect, but he's probably going to be like due to his age and experience, he's not a prospect, but he's probably worthy. He's probably worthy of being top 10 in this UFC's middleweight division, right?
Definitely. I mean, I'm just trying to pull that up actually, but in terms of the middleweight division, that you're like, Izzy's basically wiped everyone out, hasn't he? You know, Jack Hermansson was meant to be the next guy, and he had a couple of losses. He kind of dipped here and there, and you know, he never is able to get to that next level. But other than that, I can't see anyone in the top 10 division that's really a worthy challenge for Israel Adesanya. There's obviously Dricus du Plessis, but yeah, I mean, Abbas, he fits right in the top 10 in my opinion. I mean, what do you think he is? So here's a question for you. If he destroys Sean in one round, he absolutely mauls him, do you think he fights for the title next?
Man, I that's, you know where I was going. Let's map out the middleweight division here because I don't know, because two fights, and one of them wasn't even a guy in the top 15 and giving him a title. Middleweight has been so bad for so long. Like historically, I think you and I both watched Anderson Silva's fight. Like you were talking about Yushin Okami, some of the Damian Maia, some of the you know, no offense to my boy Patrick Cote.
They were good though. That's the thing. They were just in a division where the GOAT was around. But now, you've got Israel Adesanya, who's elite fight, is legendary. But the skill gap between Izzy and the rest of the division is just unbelievable.
He's beaten 7 out of the top 10 already.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot. And then the other guys he hasn't beat: Jack Hermansson, Roman Dolidze, and Dricus du Plessis. So like you've beaten the best of the best. You beat Robert Whittaker, you beat Alex Pereira, you beat Cannonier, you beat the guys that matter. Do you give him a title shot? I think the UFC would probably give it to the winner of du Plessis Whittaker, even if like Whittaker's down 0-2.
Sorry, yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What do you think?
No. Sorry, no. You're right. Because that would be the next one. But the winner of that obviously fights Izzy, and the winner of those two fights Abbas. If Abbas has an absolutely stunning performance, for sure, I just can't see it happening.
No, I can't see. Well, he might. So, what is your official prediction here? He actually has a very good chance to win here.
I'm going second round TKO. I think I think Abbas is, and I'm no disrespect to Sean. I actually like Sean. You know, I think he's a funny guy, but fighting style wise, I think there's a lot to work on. He changed his style up quite a lot. You know, after the motorcycle incident, he started becoming more of a boxer. I believe he should go back to his roots and start implementing a little bit more wrestling. Like he stopped doing that. He stopped wrestling as much. He started trying to be more of a crowd pleaser, and you know, it's still boring. So I'm I'm hoping, I'm rooting for Abbas, if I'm being honest. We need to see some new blood in the middleweight division, don't you think?
Oh my gosh, we need new blood in the middleweight division bad. Like we're just talking about, the champion has already beaten 7 of the top 10 guys. Like his last really, oh man, we need some new blood bad. But there's only 2 ways this fight can go: it's Sean Strickland decision or Abus knockout. That's it. That's all we can ever give it, right?
No, I can't think of any other thing and any other way it's gonna go, apart from those two. And Abbas is gonna be there to kind of make a statement. And I'm putting a lot just kind of banking on him, but you know, just going by like skill set, I just think he's just a far better striker. The only thing that Sean's going to be able to do is just crowd him for 5 rounds, which again could happen. I'm going to be honest. You know,
of course,
he's very good at, he's done it before.
I don't know that his skill set is getting better. I think he knows his limit, but yeah, like his last fight was a light heavyweight bout, 5-round boring decision over Nasruddin Imanov. And then if he beats Magomedov, again, he's got 2 wins over guys who are not ranked. You can't give Sean a title shot, right? But you could.
Yeah. No, you can't, man. Not like, no, you can't. I mean, he arguably had a very close fight with Jared, but other than that, like, who would you give Sean actually if he wins? That's a good question.
Okay, let's take a look at the rankings with.
Gonna have to pull up the rankings.
Yeah. Oh man, how about,
who would you give him? I'm curious.
let's take a look here. So let's take a look. So Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, I think, is unscheduled. And Paulo Costa, do you know Paulo Costa has no wins over anyone who is currently fighting in the UFC's middleweight division? Let's take a quick look.
Number 5, baby. And he's number 5.
And he's number 5. So he beat Luke Rockhold, not in the UFC. Yoel Romero, not in the UFC. Uriah Hall, retired. And Johnny Hendricks, not in the UFC. Oh, and Oluwe Bangbus. He hasn't beat anyone who's currently in the U. Sorry. No. But Paulo Costa doesn't have a single win over anyone ranked. So I think Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa would be a good one. I think Sean probably wins that one, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you do with him?
Nah, I don't know. That's a very good. You know what? I kind of just want that. I just want him to fight next now. That's a very good matchup, honestly. And Paulo needs to fight someone. I don't know how he's still ranked. Don't you find that weird? He's still ranked, yeah, and he's not beating anyone in the top 10.
I know. He beat Luke Rockhold, who was coming out of retirement after 2 losses in a row, and he's still ranked. It is what it is. Like I get it. Like he fought for a title not long ago, and his wins at the time kind of mattered. But yeah, no, I just get it. I get it. But yeah, hopefully we get him on one day, right?
Sorry,
say that again.
No, I was gonna say, if you're a star, isn't it? You're gonna have a easier trajectory to the title at the end of the day. And look, for some reason, Paulo Costa is a big name.
I mean, he's a nice looking guy. Hey, let me ask you, so because we mapped out the middleweight division here, but the other news coming out this week, and I wanted to ask you about it here. And we didn't even need prep. I know we don't need any prep for this. The rumor is that with Amanda Nunes leaving, they're talking to Ronda. All right, lay it out. Does this make sense? Is this a good idea?
My God, I'd love that, man. I'm not gonna lie. That would be. It doesn't make any sense, for her to come back because she's made her millions. She's resting. She's making resting money. Let's be honest. But if she comes back here and somehow, because I'm a huge Ronda. I love Ronda Rousey. She gets a lot of hate. She stayed in a time where she probably shouldn't have stayed. She stayed too long. That's what it was. And if she comes back and it annihilates everyone at featherweight, oh my God, how amazing would that be? How amazing would that be?
But that's the other fold to this, is that she's not apparently coming back at bantamweight and fighting for a vacant against Juliana Pena. She's coming back at featherweight against no one. Like, what is this? Juliana Pena is the only person there. But here's the thing of we're gonna see Ronda and Holly Holm again because there's so few people in this division. Although I love it. I do like this kind of hype stuff of someone who's now built their name elsewhere coming back. It's a good legacy fight for beating one of the legends. I don't know. There's a lot more that I like about this, and I'm surprised by that,
I mean, who is there, Tim? Unfortunately, we've just got no one in the featherweight division. You know what they should have done? What they should have done is they should have kept it sweet with Cyborg. They should be listen, really, I'm really sorry. I'm if I was Dana, I'd be I'm sorry for calling you Vanderlei in a dress. We'll give you a few more extra million. You're actually a very nice person. Just come back to the featherweight division. We need a new champion. And then make Cyborg versus Ronda Rousey, which is a fight that should have happened 10, 15 years ago, no?
Of course. I agree. I co-sign with that. That absolutely. And it's the tagline writes itself in terms of the 3 greatest female fighters in history. 3 are Amanda Nunes, Ronda Rousey, and Chris Cyborg in any order you want. These taglines write themselves.
Valentina Shevchenko, I'll put above Ronda, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you on that. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. No, but listen, it's so easy to be look, the greatest female fighter, these 2 are the GOATs fighting for who is the greatest of all time here for a featherweight title. Yeah, the UFC burning the bridge with Cyborg, I don't think was a great idea. That wasn't wise.
Yeah, it was stupid, really. And it's almost 12, 13 years ago, Dana was never going to have women in the UFC, never going to happen, never this, never that. Eventually he's had it. And he did it by numbers. Ronda was such a massive star. It's look, you're undeniable now. I can't have Strikeforce overtaking us just because they've got the biggest star in that division. I think that was the main reason why they did the merger. So they took Rousey, and then when her limelight failed, it got passed on to Amanda Nunes. Now, the unfortunate thing with Amanda Nunes retiring is that she can't pass that shine on to anyone else. No one can take that from her because she left undefeated. So anyone who wins the title now, it's like you're almost like a paper champ. Now, why not just have, just put more emphasis in the 145 division? Who's there at 135? There's no one. There's no one.
I know. Like it's very tough that looking back, the women's divisions were maybe a little bit stronger a few years back, and that kind of sucks to say. Like I think like Sarah McMahon and like it's such a weird thing of Kat Zingano. I think was really good. Misha Tate was in there. Misha Tate's back and she's super old now. Holly Holm's still in it. Like it's when Ronda and Amanda and Misha were all competing and Holly Holm at the same time. That was better than now. The divisions have regressed in all honesty, right?
Bro, that was the gold. That was honestly the golden era of MMA. Like when you had Rousey when you had Rousey lose to Holly Holm, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's a little bit more even. And then Holly Holm loses to Misha Tate, and they're like, oh my god, like what is going on? Then Misha Tate loses to Amanda Nunes, and that happened in the space of a year and a half. It
was so good. That was the best.
Great time, man. And now it's like Amanda Nunes. Oh, look, I'm gonna retire. And we're hearing that potentially you've got Juliana Pena fighting for a vacant title at 135 against I'm trying to remember who it is now.
Was it
Rocky, I can't remember her name now.
Raquel Pennington.
That's the one. And it's like, does that get your goat? Like, does that make you excited? No, I don't think so.
No, not particularly, honestly. I do like the Ronda era. I do like the Amanda Nunes a lot. But hey, let me pitch a fight to you, because we got Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso 2 coming up. Regardless of what happens, do you think Shevchenko should move up? I think she can beat anyone at 135 now.
I think that she needs to get that one back, which is important for her legacy. She definitely needs to get that back. But once she has done that, then I would almost kind of nearing more to retirement, because she's 35 now. She's been competing since she was 15 years old, I believe, in Muay Thai and other competitions. So it's over 21 years of competition. And let's be honest, Shevchenko isn't in her prime anymore. She's kind of, I wouldn't say past it, because I think that's a bit harsh, but she's making more mistakes than she was before. Like Talia Santos arguably lost that fight. Very close fight, arguably lost. And then against Grasso, she was making tons of mistakes before that actually happened as well, before that finish. But if there was to be another fight, move her up and then have her fight Juliana Pena for a vacant title, man. Why not? That'd make more sense.
I agree. I co-sign with you on that. Let's take a look at the rest of this UFC card this weekend, because if I remember correctly, there's not much that, like, even someone like us who like spend a lot of time in the sport and look at there's not a lot to really sink my teeth into outside of the main event, right? Was there anything else that you saw in it that we wanted to talk about?
I'm trying to think. If I had to be honest, I mean, it was just.
God, no. Like, no. These fight nights, these Apex fight cards are so hard sometimes. Of like, if you are not a sports,
God, no.
Like, if you're not a gambler, or you're not watching this stuff like on the deep undercards. Kevin Lee's back. Like, that's a weird one too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I like the fact that he's back, man. He's meant to fight Michael Chiesa as well. Like, there were talks about, because Michael Chiesa's opponent pulled out, and then Kevin Lee was like, I'll accept the fight, and Chiesa said, yeah, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in running that backwards. Yeah.
So I have heard that Chiesa settled it, because Chiesa was in court with with Conor because of the bus incident. So he was declining fights to try to be like, look, this guy broke my eye, I can't fight, blah, blah, blah. But that's settled now. But I don't know why he would turn that down. Kevin Lee is like one win over Diego Sanchez. Like, it's not like he's a world beater suddenly. Why are you scared
of him? Yeah. I don't even know. Hey, Diego follows us, yeah. So.
You also have no longer Yana Kunitskaya. She has Yana Santos is fighting this weekend. You got Ariane Lipsky fighting this weekend. I don't think there's any other notes that we have for this weekend. Anything else that we need to do before we head out of here?
Honestly, nothing else, man. I mean, I think I'm actually looking forward to the Kevin Lee fight just as much as the main event. But other than that, man, you know, we just it's just gonna be another it's another mid card that hopefully is gonna be a slow, is gonna be a sleeper hit.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Tim Wheaton, Ash, Calf Kick Sports. All the links will be down below. Keep it locked. All that good stuff. Thanks so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, man. Have a good one, bro.